Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast right here on the Winner's Circle Sports Betting channel. My name is Ross Benjamin. I'm your host, and like every Tuesday, and it is a Tuesday, April the 23rd, I am joined by Mr. Jesse Schule and Sean Higgs, all three of us of our sponsor site, gamblersworld.net. We're writing out, folks, our NBA playoff package for all three of us and the additional 7 handicappers over at the site. Just $195, and there's a lot of reasons why you should seriously consider buying that package, which will take you through the NBA Finals, but we'll touch upon that in a second. Also, folks, don't forget when you go to gamblersworld.net, you buy any single game, multi-game daily package from us or any subscription plan of 30 days or fewer, we will credit your account back the exact amount of your purchase price if you don't win or don't make a profit. So you could be rest assured that's how confident we are in our picks, that if you don't win the first time around, we know we're going to make you money over the long haul. And that's, again, it's not it's not a sign of weakness, folks. It's just confidence on our part. Jesse, welcome back, my man. Did you have a nice vacation?
It's good to be back, Ross. I'm glad you let me back on the channel. I want to thank you very much for that, sir. I promise to be on my best behavior moving forward. Last night was a bit of a bust for me. Went 0-2 with my picks, but I'm sure you guys have very little time to hear me complain because it's been a very good month and a very good year. So just a blip on the radar.
Yeah, I had a blip on the radar last night myself. Is after a tremendous run with my NBA playoff picks and picks in general. I went 0-2 last night in the NBA playoffs, but it happens. Sean, how are you, my man?
Well, I should have known after my weekend picks of NBA. I had the Pacers plus 3.5. I had the Mavericks as an underdog, and they both flip and they get crushed. I knew I was in for a rude awakening. And I got slapped around a little bit. But what are you going to do? We're betting games, folks. It is what it is. We're going to take some lumps sometimes. Yeah. Right? I mean, people, listen, we're going to lose a couple games. You're not just going to win all the time. So each and every one of us, we win, we lose. It's just frustrating sometimes. You just shake your head and move on to the next day. As I say, right? Rearview mirror, tiny. Windshield, front of the car, huge. Looking ahead, brighter days.
Yeah, my windshield is definitely very large right now because coming off a losing day and my NBA playoff picks, folks, documented 84-52 since 2022. That's 62%, and that's despite last night's 0-2. So NBA overall on an 18-8 run, basketball picks overall since March 19th. 40-21. That's college basketball, NBA combined, and that's good for 66%. So again, coming off a bad night last night, I'm like Sean says, that windshield is awful large for me right now, and I am going to win for you tonight. So you could be rest assured. All right. Last night, some thoughts of what we saw last night, and then we'll get to our free picks. We have all 3 NBA games for Tuesday. We'll have a free pick in each one of them. And then also not only an official free pick, but all 3 of us will have some kind of opinion on each of those contests. But, Jesse, what a meltdown by the 76ers last night in the last 28 seconds. And then we saw the Lakers blow a 20-point lead against Denver last night and lose the game by 2 on a buzzer beater. And what else did I miss? Well, the Orlando Magic just looked like a team that, they overachieved this year and now they're out of gas. But any thoughts on what you saw last night?
Well, with the Lakers, Denver, this is just deja vu all over again. I mean, we saw plenty of games like that last year where the Lakers had their chances to win, but they couldn't close out games. This was a pretty dramatic comeback, sure, but it's not like we haven't seen this story before. And with the Sixers and the Knicks, that was one of my losers last night. I got suckered in by the injury report when I heard Maxey was going to be sick, and I saw that Embiid had re-aggravated his knee, and I got tempted to jump on the Knicks at -5. Sometimes that works out, sometimes it doesn't. Didn't work out for me last night, but I'm just glad the Knicks got the win because I do have futures on the Knicks in the series, and I did give out a video play on Knicks to win Game 2 and to go on to win the series, which I think they're certainly in a good position to do now.
Well, Sean, Tyrese Maxey was sick all day, and he made me and Jesse sick all night because of his performance. But the Knicks are that. This is just as a sports fan in general, which we always speak in betting terms. But they're a team that's hard for me not to like. And I like him even more. And again, nothing against Julius Randle, but I think my affinity for that team is grown because of the loss of Julius Randle and everybody writing the Knicks off, and they've just bonded together. And here they are up 2-0, and their star point guard shot 30%. It's less than 30% for the season right now. Jalen Brunson. For the series, I should say.
Listen, you bring up the Randall, and I said, okay, that's fine during the regular season. You rally, you're playing tough all the time. You're going to run into tough playoff teams. They're up 2-0. They could be down 0-2 in this one.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Well, what's to say that the Sixers don't come out and shoot really well? I mean, yeah, he's shooting bad, but, Harris was shooting bad. I mean, that's why they're down 0-2. All right. You came back and won last night. I'll give you the win there. The game before that, a bad game, guy gets hurt, you're losing. This is an epitome of like the NBA regular season. Hi, guys are going to be out. Embiid's questionable. Maxey's probably going to sit. The line goes to 6, and yet here they go. Both guys play and have monster games. This is they got to do a better job there. And as opposed to the Lakers, how the heck do people think the Lakers were going to beat Denver? Like, there's people like, oh, Lakers are going to get them. You've lost 10 in a row. Now all of a sudden we're going to win the next 4 games, 4 out of the.
They're due, Sean. They're due.
Yes, that inside's great.
They were up early in game 1, and I was getting the messages on Twitter from a couple guys, like, oh, I told you, oh yeah, the Lakers stink, Sean. You really know what you're talking about. I'm like, thank you for the kiss of death. I'm going to live bet Denver now in the second quarter winner. Same thing last night. Oh, here we go again. I told you, you can't count them out. AD and LeBron. What are you talking about? That's all you have, AD and LeBron. There's nothing else. There's nothing else on that team.
Jesse, you're good at this. Correct me if I'm wrong. They've lost 10 in a row to Denver, meaning the Lakers. And I believe they had a double-digit lead in 5 or 6 of those games that they lost.
So well, that's why I said, Ross, deja vu all over again. I mean, I know last night's game was a little bit more dramatic because it was a big lead, but we've seen this over and over again. And I've always said I hate betting on teams coming off of that type of a loss. Such a deflating, you do everything right for 3 quarters and then you blow the game late. That it's going to be hard to come back from that. So I think the Lakers, you can stick a fork in them.
Yeah, and the 76ers, you look at Joel Embiid, it's obvious if you watched him in the second half last night, I don't think he had a rebound the entire second half. But he was a factor in the game because he was knocking down shots. And I don't understand. I mean, if I'm Tom Thibodeau, and I'm not, okay, and I don't pretend to be an X and O guy. I'm a sports handicapper. But the bottom line is I gotta force this guy to beat me off the dribble. I mean, because he was knocking down 3-point shots. I got sick of watching him hit the step back shot. So we'll see how it progresses, but that's really the only. I know, Sean. I think from listening to you talk, I'm going to take an educated guess that you think this series is far from over, and I don't blame you for feeling that way. Okay, because like you said, this very easily could have went 2-0 the other way. But it's concerning to me that Embiid. I mean. If this was a regular season, he wouldn't be playing right now. That's the way I look at it because he's playing. He has a lack of mobility right now. His rebounding presence and his defensive presence is non-existent. As the only thing he can beat you with right now is his perimeter shot.
Listen, they are a shot away from being 1-1, and they're not even playing good. The Knicks play ugly. right? They're defensive. Here's our lunch pail. We're going in battle. Sixers are going to come and win a game at home, right? I mean, how do you think this game doesn't go at least 6? I'm not going to be shocked. I mean,
How do you think Embiid lasts for 4 more games?
well, because they spread him out every 2 games. He's going to go and sit in an ice bucket for a day.
Yeah. Isn't this the series, Sean, that's spread out to like the first 4 games over 9 days or something like
Well, they're
that?
playing Thursday, so
Right.
you got a
so
couple
that's
days
not the
off
one.
there.
Yeah.
That's nothing but to help Embiid,
And then
or
the
any,
next game
whether
4
it's
is on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken.
let's see, Saturday, Sunday. Then they play on Sunday.
Yeah, so there's your answer. There's Sean's reply and his answer to you, Jesse. So they get a break there. You know what I mean? 2 days off, play 2 more days off.
I mean, that's crazy. Remember, I'm old enough to remember when the round 1 was like a 3-game series. Remember those days?
Yeah.
See ya. Goodbye. Time to go home. You lost. See you next year, folks.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. So there you have it. There's our take on what we saw last night. A lot of good stuff to be looking forward to. Let's get to our games. And let's start with Sean. He's got the Mavs and the Clippers. And as you alluded to, Sean, the Mavs with a terrible performance in game 1. And here they are as a road favorite again in game 2. They're a 2-point favorite. And the total in this game, 216. The Clippers, without Kawhi Leonard, came up with a big effort again. And the Clippers, I think, are a very underrated defensive team. But are you looking for a Dallas bounce back here, Sean?
I'm definitely looking for a bounce back. Definitely looking for a Dallas bounce back. Yes, give me. And I'm going to say first half here. Even if like a first quarter bet, if you want to kind of do here, it's -120 for first half. I don't have a first quarter number in front of me. I just thought about that one on the fly. You score 8 points in a quarter, and basically just lose that was the game right there. Yeah, they came back and it turned into like kind of a close game. You lost by what they lose by 10 that last game. 109-97. It wasn't that close. That game was ridiculous at the half. It was way past bedtime by then. But you could have hit a layup. You could have hit. It was just a total debacle. Like, what do you say about a performance like that? And I'm going to say this about any kind of team. You lose that first game, with the exception of the Orlando Magic, apparently. Most teams come out and put out a fight in the first quarter, second quarter. Like, we have to win this, and here we come. We're going to – everything in the kitchen sink's coming towards you. Let's go. That's what I'm expecting here. Just you look at these numbers, you're like, holy cow. Like, what are you doing there? You started out terrible. You had no way to come back from that. And I'm expecting it. The line says it. I think this was a 3-2. It came down, which would probably make sense. Why wouldn't you take a Clipper home team? We took care of you in game 1. We didn't play that well either. We didn't put up 109 points. But yeah, give me the Mavericks here first half -120. I think Luke and Kyrie. There's no bad second quarter. They can't afford it. They're going to come out strong. I'm going to take a first half play here on the Mavs.
All right, so the Mavs -120 on the money line in the first half over the Clippers for Sean Higgs. Again, I can't argue with that thinking, albeit that they're coming off a bad performance, number one, and number two, Jesse, Dallas has been a very good defensive team over the last few weeks of the season. So, and I don't think a lot of people realize that.
I think perhaps a lot of these teams that were really hot down the stretch coming into the playoffs, they fought like hell for their position, and they suffer a letdown on the road in game 1. You guys know how many road teams won game 1 in the NBA and NHL playoffs this year? Zero. Yeah, so let's not hold it against the Mavs. I love Sean's first half take, especially the fact that I know Sean doesn't usually mess with first halves and first 5 innings and these kind of bets. So if Sean's isolated the first half, I think it's probably for a good reason. But it's a similar – I like to go with that philosophy. When a team's playing with revenge, coming off of a loss, you look for them to make that statement early. And if they're losing at halftime, you don't want to be on that team anyways.
Yep.
Right, Sean?
Exactly. That's it. You're down. You have to come – what are we going to – we're going to battle back on the road? And we're going to be down. That's not where you want to be. You want to come out and score early, score often, get a lead, and have them in a fight kind of mode where they get back on the hill and say, you know what? hey, we're 1-1. We'll take 1-1. We were underdogs here. Like, that'll be in the back of somebody of their head, even though it's not in their heads. The thinking is 1-1. We'll be happy to get out of here. Maybe we get Kawhi back. Who knows? The pressure's not on them. Pressure's on the Mavericks.
So Jesse loves Sean's pick. Jesse loves Sean in general. Jesse loves everything that Sean says, and all of the above, folks. So speaking of Jesse, let's get to your game, Jesse. The Pacers and the Bucks, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time start tonight. Right now, the Bucks are a 1-point favorite. The total is 223. And, talking about disappointing performances, the Pacers didn't show up in game one. And Damian Lillard went off for 35 points in the first half of that game, which catapulted Milwaukee to a huge lead in the first half that Indiana just was not able to recover from. But what's your take in game two here, Jesse?
Yeah, well, Jesse loves Sean. Jesse loves everybody, but everybody doesn't love Jesse in the YouTube comment section when Jesse's giving out free picks on the Pacers. The public seems to really like Milwaukee here. Certainly, they don't like my take when I put out a video on the Pacers earlier this week on another channel. But the public needs to know that I was doing some digging, and it turns out that I've won 12 of my last 13 top-rated NBA picks, and I've got a pick at gamblersworld.net right now, testing that 12-1 run on this game. It might be on the side, it might be on the total, it might be on something else. You're going to have to pay to find out. Now, I already said I gave out a pick on the Pacers. I'm going to look at the total here, though, and I think Ross is going to like this one in particular. Game one total, 231.5. The overnight line for this game, because let's face it, all Saturday, Sunday, Monday games all went under the total. So we're never going to see another over in the NBA playoffs as long as we live, right, guys? That seems to be the train of thought. So all of a sudden, this number goes down to 220.5 overnight. It's back up a little bit because probably that move was a little ridiculous. But let's not forget who this Pacers team is. The Pacers led the NBA in scoring this year, averaging 123.3 points per game, and that was a significant gap between them and the next team, a 3-point gap, and the next 5 teams are all probably within a point. The Pacers second in the NBA in pace of play. The Pacers shot horribly in game one. They weren't ready. Doc Rivers catches a lot of flack. They've got a losing record since Doc Rivers arrived in Milwaukee, but you got to give him credit. He had his team ready to play, and Rick Carlisle didn't have his boys ready to play. They got punched in the mouth. They couldn't come back. But shooting 39% from the field, 21% from three-point range, 66% from the free throw line, I don't expect that to continue. And the recipe for success for Indiana to get back in this series isn't slowing it down. It's not stifling them on defense. It's run, and do what we know how to do. And they're going to have to put up some points in this game. And I like the Pacers. I like the over, but the play for this video is Pacers team total over 110.5.
Yes.
What do you guys think?
I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. Look, here's the thing. The last 8 times the Pacers have lost, they followed it up with games they averaged 127 points per contest. That's off their last 8 losses. That game that they lost in game one, in which they scored, would they score 95, Jesse, or something like that?
94, I believe.
94. Okay. It was only the second time all year they scored less than 100 points all year. It was, I believe, the only time or the second time all season long they shot less than 40% from the field. So I think, and then you also look at the fact that they've scored 110 points or more in 66 of 84 games this year. That's close to 79%. I think it's a high probability that they're going to surpass this number of 110.5. I will absolutely love that pick, Jesse. Sean?
Thank you, Ross.
Exactly. He said everything. I already had this myself as a team total play here because they look like garbage in game one, totally unprepared. Forget about the whole line flip. Whatever. I'll take my loss. But this is a team that scores, and you're going to give me a 110 on a team that scores over 120? Okay, sure. Sign me up. Bucks rallied. No Gianni. Let's go. Okay. Give me the Pacers here. Whether they win or not, part of me still doesn't want to back Doc Rivers. I still sort of like the Pacers for the series. This spot here, it's a team total because they got to get even. They got to score more than 100 point, 110. I mean, you figure they got to be in the 115 range, honestly. So yeah, give me the over here with Jesse on this team total.
Yeah. There you have it, folks. It's unanimous. Not only our official pick over 110.5 on the Pacers, but me and Sean also love Jesse's pick, which is the official pick here. And then in our other game, Sean likes the Dallas Mavericks minus 120 on the money line as a first half bet. Let me get to my game. And
Can I follow up, Ross?
Sure, absolutely. Go ahead.
I'm just curious. So when I love Sean's pick, I love Sean and it's really funny and stuff. But when you guys love my pick, I mean, what's
Buddy,
with that?
I always love you. I love you. I've told you that from the get-go. You're my MVP. You're my man. So, some things are left better unsaid. I love Sean too. The difference between you two guys is he drives me out of my mind and you don't. So,
All right.
I
just checking.
My wife drives me out of my mind too, and I love her to death. So, that's probably why I have a little bit of an affinity for Sean as well. Anyway, all right. Are we done with the love fest here? And we can get on to my pick? Jesse,
For a little bit.
All right.
For a little bit.
All right. Minnesota's -3, and the total's 211.5. By the way, this total opened at 213.5, it's down to 211.5. I'm going to look at the Suns team total here, which is 104.5. Phoenix is coming off a game 1, 120-95 loss. It's only the 5th time they've been held to less than 100 points all year. Very similar scenario to what we're talking about with the Pacers. They went 4-1 straight up at ATS in the following game after scoring less than 100 points, and they averaged 121.2 points per game in those contests. Minnesota's allowed 105 points or more in their last 7 home games after allowing 99 points or less. So again, it's nothing unusual for Minnesota to hold the team under 100 points because they've done so with regularity this year as they've been the top defensive team in the NBA, scoring, field goal percentage, all that kind of stuff throughout the year, or one of the top teams. Let's put it that way. Since last year, Phoenix has scored 100 or less points 20 times in a game. Or I should say 100 points or less in the game 20 times. In the following game, they averaged 116.3 points per game. Real simple. I'm taking the Suns over 104.5 as my over 104.5 on their team total. So that's it. Jesse, what do you got?
I like it, Ross, but I'm not going to give it that love tag because I think, as Sean alluded to, if you're looking for a team to bounce back, I think you want to look for it in the first half. I would have gone first half if I were you. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Sean.
I like it. I don't love it, but I'll agree with you there. Because I like Minnesota to beat them, even though the Suns had their number in the regular season or whatever. I think Minnesota is a team.
Yeah.
Right. You got all right. You got Gobert, whatever, but it's not the KD, Beal, Booker. It's not LeBron, AD, or the Joker. It's just like who are these guys? They're not that good. I don't know. They're deep. They play defense all the time. They play defense here in game 1.
They got a genuine superstar in Anthony Edwards too.
Yeah, but I mean,
because of the market he plays in, he's not as recognized.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing. You look at it like the Timberwolves. Who do you have over there? It's not a. I don't know. I think they win this, but I'm not as in love with it as the Pacer one. The Pacers are going to come and fire away. The Suns, I could see them. You're going to have Booker and Beal shooting some threes or something. Next thing you know, guys 3 for 16 and this total. Then you're at 103. You're like, what the hell just happened here? Yeah. But I do like it, though. I think they should. Again, you got a Hall of Famer, a borderline Hall of Famer, and a superstar. You should be able to get over that 100-point mark and eclipse this 104. So I do agree.
Yeah, I mean, since 2020, Game 2 home teams have done awfully well. Last night, for example, they went 3-0 straight up, but they didn't cover 2 of the 3. but they've done awfully well in a situation which we talk about the zigzag theory a lot, right? In the NBA playoffs, and that's pretty much died down over the last couple of years. And that statistic I just said, I believe, if I'm right, home teams in game 2 have gone 36-12 against the spread since 2020. I think I'm pretty accurate with that. If not, I'm in the neighborhood. So with that being said, it's almost like that defies the zigzag theory. Now, not to say that some of those situations they lost game 1 at home. I'm not saying they won every game 1 at home, but I don't know, guys. The zigzag theory, is it something we should consider or continue to look at, or is it something that's a trend of the past?
When I was on covers, Ross, I had a play called the anti-zigzag in the title. And for the very reason that you pointed out, the zigzags theory had become so popular that you'd have a team favored by 8.5 in game 1. They win in a rout, and then they're a 6.5 point favorite in game 2 because the zigzag theory. And people were just blindly betting on the losing team in game 2. And in my mind, the odds weren't adding up. I was mildly successful with that, but that train of thought seems to be what you're describing here, and what's occurred with the point spread in the since 2020, and it's easy for me to see why that would occur when people are too keen on blindly following something like a zigzag theory.
Exactly. Nothing lasts forever when it comes to the world of sports betting. We look for high probability situations, but when everybody starts to find out about it and everybody starts to talk about it, the odds makers have their ears are ringing, and they make the adjustments and will overvalue those teams sometime in that situation. And yesterday, though, Sean, I mean, the zigzag theory was 2-1 against the spread, but real quickly, your thoughts on the zigzag theory?
Yeah, and also I think you got to come into the way they spread these things out now. So it's going to come down because the team has a little more time to prepare. Also, after a bad loss, to come back and play better. But I also think it's like what I said. I think they're going to adjust to that. I think it was no different than the unranked versus ranked teams you saw in college basketball, or even in college football. Like everybody gets on something, and all of a sudden these lines are just juiced up a couple points because people are going to bet the other way. These are kind of juiced down a little bit because everybody's going to come in on a dog. Although we see a different one here with the Wolves from a 1 to a 3. But I agree. Like you have to just pick and choose spots like that. I think, right? I mean, that's why you got to do your work, and it's going to work. The best of things in work. What do you want? You want to work 55%, 60% of the time? Good luck. Hopefully you're on the right. Hopefully you get it. You can't just pick and choose it, though, folks. You want to zigzag it. It's got to be every game.
And we should all be careful of the fact that it's not uncommon. I talked about this yesterday, and I'm curious to hear you guys' thoughts. It's not uncommon for the odds makers to make an abrupt move from game 1 to game 2 based on what they think the perception is going to be. The Knicks being a perfect example yesterday. We got burned with that game, me and Jesse. But they were a 3-point favorite in game 1. They went up to a 6-point favorite yesterday. And I think a lot of that had to do with how they saw Embiid and how he struggled physically in game 2 and what were they going to get out of him. And then there was the Maxey factor too, right? That bumped it from 5 to 6 when he was sick all day.
We'll look at the total in the Pacers game going from 231.5,
right,
220.5 on the overnight line. A couple hours later, it's 223.5. I mean, there's been a lot of there's a lot of action on that total, obviously.
Yeah, well, it was actually opened last night, or what I saw last night. Let me put it this way: I'm not doubting what you're saying, Jesse. I saw at Wager Talk when I look at their odds page. The total opened at 227.5, and now it's down. And then first thing this morning, 6:30 this morning, I'm handicapping the games. It's 220.5. Just before I go on air, it's up to 223.5. So, I mean, Sean, again, something to keep an eye on when It's not like the odds makers are overreacting, but they don't kid yourself. They look at what happens in game 1 to game 2 and know the action in the few amount of games each night. The people are they base some of their movements on perception, what they feel public perception is going to be. Correct or no?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But this one is, how's this perception from a 229 down to a 220 back to, that is a crazy.
Yeah. And and I looked at the injury report. The first thing I saw the only thing I could think of is that opening number with 229, 227 half, whatever it was. Okay. It's almost like they thought that there might be an inkling of a chance that Giannis was going to play. That's the only thing I could attribute it to, because there's no way there's that much of a totals movement. I don't care how many under bets you get. Okay. And I don't care if it's Billy Walters coming in with $100,000 under bet. You're not going to move a total 6 or 7 points, So to me, I think they were protecting themselves against Giannis possibly playing in game 2. Again, I don't know this to be a fact, but it's an educated guess on my part, because you look at the injury report for both teams. We knew Giannis was, I did anyway, was under the impression that he was definitely going to be out for the first 2 games. So I don't know. What else could we make sense of that move from, Sean?
Yeah, that's all you could think of.
Yeah. Jesse, any thoughts?
You see 9 of the first 10 games of the playoffs go under the total. Everybody's looking to bet under. It makes sense to me that there's going to be one-sided act. Whatever the line opens, they're just going to get nothing but under bets. And then as that total creeps down a little bit and sharps start to see that, maybe I'm not interested at 227. Maybe I'm not interested at 225. But get down to 220. Maybe I'm fucking really interested, to the tune of $5 million or something. Then they got to bump it up 3 points.
Absolutely. So there you have it, folks. Great show today, guys. And if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please take a second to do so. It costs you absolutely nothing, 100% free. And after you do so, or if you've done that already, we certainly appreciate it. Go into your YouTube settings and click on the alert notification bell for Winner's Circle Sports Betting Channel. And again, you can find all 3 of us at gamblersworld.net, folks. I have the winning side and total in the Indiana game tonight. Jesse, I think, has the same. And Sean always has his stuff up early. So again,
MLB 3-pack, go get it.
Yeah, MLB 3-pack. There you go. And by the way, Sean's 30-20 in the NBA this year. He doesn't put out a lot of NBA picks, but he's hitting that 60%. I'm on a red hot 18-8 run. Jesse's on a 12-1 run with his best bets. So Jesse, there's a like button right underneath. What do you want the folks to do with that?
Smash that like button.
Smash that like.
Much better than me, Jesse.
Smash that like button, folks. Just a small token of your appreciation for the time, work, and effort we put in to bringing you a quality podcast each and every day, and to attempt to make you a smarter sports bettor today than you were yesterday. We will be back tomorrow with the same cast of characters, talking more NBA playoffs. Until then, take care and God bless, folks.